Today we are going to work with prepositions. So last week we worked with adverbs. So today we're gonna be working with prepositions of time and prepositions of place. Okay, so let's start with the topic. Remember, please to take notes in case that you want to well, pay attention, right? Put attention and participate, please. Okay, so here we have the presentation. I'll be back. Give me a minute.
Yes, sir.
I'm back. Well, I was telling you that we're gonna be working with prepositions. Let's start. Okay, so what is a preposition? Daniel, can you help me to read, please?
Yes. A preposition is a word of set of words that indicates location, near, beside, on top of, or some other relationship between a noun and pronoun and other parts of the sentence. About, after, besides, instead of, importance. With a preposition isn't a preposition unless it goes with a relate noun and pronoun, call it the object a preposition. A preposition generally, but not always, goes before its noun and pronoun.
Okay, thank you. So a preposition is a word or set of words because we have just prepositions and we have prepositions that are more than one word. And we have prepositions that are considered or called prepositional phrases. But at the end, all of the ones that I'm saying are considered prepositions. So prepositions, the ones we're gonna be working with are the prepositions of place and prepositions of time. So as I said, we're gonna be talking about these little words because most of the time they are very short. These short words that tell us where something is or connects or indicates, as it says in here, the location or relationship between the noun or pronoun with the rest of the sentence. For example, okay, it says, generally, but not always, they go before its noun or pronoun. It says generally, but not always, because we can have prepositions actually at the end of a sentence when we ask, what are you thinking about? For example, what are you thinking about? About is a preposition and it doesn't go in the middle or at the beginning, it goes at the end. So it will depend and vary depending on the sentence, on what you're saying, to know where to place it. Okay, let's start with the prepositions of time. Christian, can you help me to read the paragraph, please?
Lo leo.
Yes, please.
Okay. On Sunday morning, I had class in the afternoon. I studied at the library in the evening. I went out and made dinner at night. I watched a movie with some friends.
Okay, very good. So here we have the words in colors. We have, we know them as prepositions of time. Okay, so they are different because they are used with a specific words or with a specific context. Here we have two examples. My son finishes school at 5 p.m. We can go to your house in the afternoon. So keep in mind that we are talking about prepositions of place because we also have prepositions of time and they might be the same words, but they are considered different because they're used for different purposes. Okay, next slide. Prepositions of time. When am I gonna use, these are like the most common ones. Of course, there are many more. We're gonna see them like the most common in general, but these three are like the most common and the ones that we may confuse. So we have at. At is a preposition for the times of the day. For example, at 4 o'clock, at 10:30, at noon, at midnight. So when I'm talking about time, about a time of the day, I'm gonna use at. So we have class at 3 p.m. Meal times. We're not talking about times like with the numbers or with the word, for example, midnight or noon, referring to a time, to a number, but we can use it to refer to a part of the day that happens during the day. For example, the meal times, at lunchtime, at dinner time. I'll tell you at lunchtime. I'll tell you at dinner. Holidays. We have different holidays. So we have Christmas, we have Easter, we have the weekend. It's also a holiday. Well, depending, right? For example, another holiday will be Halloween, etc. So when we're talking about holidays, we're gonna be using at. And at, when talking about holidays, it's for the season of that holiday, right? It's general, not about the day on a specific. For example, the weekend, it's for both days, probably also including Friday afternoon. Expressions, at present, at the moment, at this moment, at night. Expressions talking about a period of time in time. Okay, in. We're gonna use in for months, in April, for seasons, in the summer, in the spring, for years, in 1990, for decades, in the 80s, for centuries, in the 20th century, long periods, in the Ice Age, in the present, in the past, but not talking about this moment. So like the whole period of the present, right? Which could be considered this year or these current years, like the 2 years ago and 2 years later, and this year, like present in general as a period. And in the past, also considering that if we say, oh, in the past, we're talking about like long periods ago. Parts of the day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, but at night. I know that it can be confusing. To be honest, it is confusing even for native speakers. Sometimes they use them incorrectly. So don't feel like overwhelmed or that, I don't know, this is too much, because it's a matter of practice, okay? And it's a matter also, I think, of identifying the context where these prepositions fit. Okay, so now I know that months, years, decades, even centuries are used within, but for example, days, dates, in parts of a specific day are within. So I can say in April to talk about the month, but if I'm gonna talk about a date, I can also use in for years. But if I'm going to give you like the full date, I'll have to use on 15th June, on 20th May, on our anniversary. We are going to use on. If we're talking about years in general, so then it's within. If we're talking about a month in general, for example, we are in May, and Students' Day was on May 23rd or the 23rd of May. On is for days also, every single day of the year. Before I told you that Halloween used to be with at, but it depends on the context. It depends when or how you're using it. So, for example, I told you here that this at for holidays, it's for like a general way. If I say, oh, I go to the beach at Christmas. So it means that I'm talking about like probably the Christmas holiday, the Christmas break. I'm not saying that it's on the specific day. So if it is for the specific day, then I'm gonna use on Christmas. On Christmas is for the 25th or because Christmas Eve is 24th. And at Christmas, it refers to a more general context. We're gonna see more examples. Don't just wait. Okay, call me next week. And here sometimes we're gonna like skip the prepositions, as for example here, call me next weekend. And I met her last Friday. We're not gonna say I met her on the last Friday. We're just gonna say I met her last Friday. For last and for next. Let's see how can I use this. This is what I was talking to you about Christmas. For example, my grandparents visit us on Christmas Day. I bought a lot of presents at Christmas. So this is like for Christmas, like I'm talking about the holiday of Christmas, because you know that Christmas most of the time it is a celebration that obviously is one day only, but it covers, let's say, the whole month, or not necessarily the whole month, but it might be celebrated, or the preparation for the day. It's like like with, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks or something like that. So if we're talking about this specific day, we're gonna use on. If we're talking about like the general way, we're gonna use at. For example here, I didn't sleep well in the night. Nightclubs open at night. So here is talking about in general. We're talking about like, this is something that happens generally, like with the frequency, like probably every day or every Friday or every weekend. And this is something that happened, that a specific situation, which is in the night. I didn't sleep well in the night, referring to that night that was last night. Yes, we're gonna continue with more examples. Now, these are other types of prepositions. Here we have the examples. Christian already read. Eduardo, can you help me to read the ones for from, please?
Lunch is served from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
The other one from, please.
We open from Tuesday to Saturday.
Okay, so here is talking about that it tells you, and they are used together, from and to. From 1 p.m. it tells you the time it starts something. 2 or 3 p.m. it shows you the time the action finishes. We open from Tuesdays to Saturday. It could be used with times, or it could be used with days. For example, we have classes on Tuesday and Thursday from 3 to 4:30. From Tuesday to Thursday. The preposition of for. Manuel, can you help me to read it, please? Both examples with the prepositions of for. Manuel?
Yo,
Yes, please.
un ejemplo.
The for and for. Read the two examples with for.
Un ejemplo de form. No lo escucho bien, profe.
Read the two examples with for. This one and this one. The one with the house and the one of the girls. Read it. Léelo.
Ah, ok. It was abandoned for 150
150.
115 years. We waited there for 5 hours or hours. No sé cómo se.
Hours. Yeah. So here we're talking about years. Here we're talking about hours. It was abandoned for 150. I'm telling you the time this house or mansion or whatever was abandoned. If I want to mention the time it lasted like that, I'm gonna use 4. We waited there 4 or 5 hours. So let's say that you get to the supermarket and you are in the line waiting to pay. So then it takes you 20 minutes to pay. So then you can say, oh, I waited for 20 minutes. So that shows the duration you stay in there waiting for something in the case of the line. But it could be used for other contexts, such as the one in the mention that it was abandoned for 150 years. Okay, examples with until. Adriana, please.
Mande.
Examples with until. Can you read them, please?
Que lo lea.
Please.
He won't be here until next week. She will be here until 12.
Okay, so as you can see here, this tells me the duration something lasted, or yeah, that lasted, and this tell me that time. This is like more for the future. Esto es por algo que ya pasó probablemente. For example, here it was abandoned for, o sea, estuvo abandonada por 150 años. And here he won't be here until next weekend. Sería hasta, vendría siendo el hasta, right? He won't be here until next weekend. She will be here until 12. Entonces, en la primera, el uso de until está diciendo aquí que no va a llegar hasta el siguiente fin. Well, digo, perdón, hasta la siguiente semana. And this example is saying that the person is already there, but she was gonna be there, she will be there until noon, which means that it can be used for any situation that it's gonna last for a period of time, but in the future, related to the future. And this is more related to the past. Yes?
Sí, creo que entendí. O sea, from y to es para un plazo de tiempo.
Ajá.
For es para indicar el tiempo que duró.
Yes.
Y el último es para decir hasta un
Así
límite.
es.
Ok, ok.
Very good. Ahora, tengo aquí los the most common prepositions with the explanation and examples of each one of them. Entonces, aquí tengo, repito, las preposiciones que son más comunes de utilizar. Unas obviamente son más comunes que otras, pero a fin de cuentas, pues hay que revisarlas porque en algún momento we use them and it's important for us to know the prepositions. Okay, so preposition during. Ay, no la puse. No, I didn't write it. Okay, during is una preposition. It is used when something happens within the time something else is happening. For example, we are taking class and you can be doing something else at the same time. So you can use during because it is a situation that is happening within the time something else is happening, in this case is my class. For example, we stayed at a student hostel during the conference. So the conference, let's say that is in Mazatlan, for example, very common. So for the conference, okay, during the conference, we stayed at the Monarcas Hotel, for example. So it is a situation, it is the same, or it could be easy identify because it has the same translation as in Spanish, que es durante, right? During. Then for, used with a period of time, I'm just going to bed for 2 hours or so. It depends on the context. Aquí lo estamos usando para algo que ya pasó. Aquí lo estoy usando para algo que te voy a decir por el tiempo determinado que voy a estar ahí. For 2 hours, por 2 horas. Until or till es exactamente lo mismo until and till. Digamos que till is the short form And until es la forma completa, right? Pero a final de cuentas es lo mismo. It's exactly the same. Up to a certain time. We'll wait till 6:30 for you. We'll wait until 6:30 for you. Y aquí tengo incluso otra preposition que es la de for. O sea, si se fijan, prepositions is going to be everywhere, every time. At the end, when we finish, we're going to try to find all of the parts of a speech because what we're learning, adverbs, prepositions, verbs, etc., those are called parts of a speech, que son cómo se compone el lenguaje. So we're going to be identifying them. What is the importance of identify them? ¿Cuál es la importancia de identificar estas partes del lenguaje? Pues que sabemos utilizarlas correctamente. If we know what they are, we can place them and use them correctly. Now, since, los ejemplos que les mostré ahorita no todos vienen, right? Entonces no venía since. Pero since puede ser, digamos, a veces confundido o compared with for. For example, if I tell you, I lived in Canada for 5 years. I live in Canada for 5 years. What am I telling you in that sentence? That I was in Canada, I stayed 5 years. For 5 years means the time that I stayed there. Now, if I say I lived in if I say I lived in Canada since 2005, it means that I'm still living there and I have living there since 2005, o sea, desde. Digamos que el for es por la cantidad del tiempo que cubre y el since es desde. Refers back to a point in time when something began. O sea, me indica el tiempo en el que comenzó algo. 40 years have passed away since they met. Y el since es utilizado de una manera muy específica. It is used with a specific times where something began. We can use it with years or we can use it with the actions that happened. For example, since they met, desde que se conocieron. Estoy viajando hacia ese momento preciso. When they met, since they met. Yes? Okay, from to. Ya lo
Yes.
usamos ahorita. Este sí lo vimos. To show when something begins and something ends. His visit will extend from Monday to Thursday. Ago. Ago es otro muy común que se utiliza por lo regular o por lo general al final de la oración. Refers to how far back in something happened. He left the house over an hour ago. Se fue de la casa hace una hora. He left the house over an hour ago. El ago me indica entonces el tiempo que ha pasado desde que esa persona se fue o desde que una acción terminó. Right? Before.
Sería el hace.
Ajá.
Hace una hora.
Yeah, something like that. Ajá.
Ah, ok.
Before refers to any time previous to a specific point in time. She's always up before down. So it means before antes, right? This one I'm pretty sure that you already knew it. By, no later than. He had promised to be back by 5 o'clock. Esta, la de by, tiene muchos otros usos que la vamos a ver al final, ya que terminemos toda la presentación, porque by es súper común y a veces no sabemos cómo utilizarla. Entonces al final vamos a verla, pero en este contexto, talking about prepositions of time, by means not later than, which means that if you said that he was going to be back by 5 o'clock, means that he's gonna be there at 5 o'clock, no later than 5 o'clock. Okay, after. Just when we want to say later in time than. For example, I felt fairly relaxed after taking the medicine. So which means or shows the, let's say the effect or the event or situation or whatever that happened later than another action, after than an action. Okay, till. Talking about time, because to, I know that can be also used with prepositions of place. So to, telling the time, we're referring to the number of minutes before the hour. It's 1:45. Past refers to the amount of time past the hour. No se refiere a past del pasado. Se refiere, o sea, sí, se refiere al tiempo que ha pasado desde esa hora. It's 5 past 10. Han pasado 5 minutos desde las 10. Between and. To talk about time that separates 2 points. O sea, me separa 2 puntos. They live in New York between 1998 and 2004. En algún momento entre esos años, they lived there. Within refers to a span of time during which something may occur. You should receive a reply within 7 days. Entonces, dentro de ese plazo, el within significa como dentro de ese tiempo o plazo vas a recibir noticias. I'm not telling you exactly when, but I'm just telling you that if it is within 7 days, it could be tomorrow or it could be next Thursday or next Tuesday, no, Tuesday. Yes?
Sí.
Okay.
Sí.
So I'm going to share with you this presentation in case that it is too much information, porque sí es mucha información y sí me gustaría que la repasaran y la estudiaran y la leyeran porque son muchas palabras. Entonces, si les queda alguna duda, algo así, pues ya la van a tener. You're going to have them for you to check them whenever you want. Now, let's go to the prepositions of place. Let's meet at the bus stop on Georgia Street. Ahora ya vimos los prepositions of time referring to the time. Now let's go to the prepositions of place and movement referring to where something is or referring to where to go, etc. So at, on son las prepositions of place. Here I have 2 examples. The keys are in the handbag. The dog is behind me because it's shy. So the keys are in, which means as you can see in the picture, they are in, and behind, here we have this kid, the dog is behind because it's shy. Entonces es detrás. Now, most common prepositions of place, at, it, on. At, a point, so these are like where can I use the prepositions of place, at, it, on? Okay, these are like examples of situations. At the door, at the crossroads, at the traffic line, at the top of the stairs, at the bottom of the page, at the end of the street, at a party, at a concert, at a cinema, at school, at university, at home, at work, at the bakery, at a cafe, at a chemist. So you can see here, si es en un punto, if it is on top, bottom, or end of something, you're going to use at. Group activities, school or university, home, work, and shops. Now within, Alexis, can you help me to read the examples within, please? Alexis, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Can you help me to read the examples within, please?
Within, in a 3D space, in the back, in the classroom, in a box. Territory, in London, in Europe, in the Alps, in the world. Car and van, in the car, in a van. Water in the sea, in a river, in a lake, in a swimming pool. Printing materials, in a book, in a picture, in the newspaper.
Okay, very good. And then at the end we have on. Evan, can you help me to read it, please? On.
Yes, miss. El de on a surface, on the table, on the carpet, on the roof, on the sofa, floor, on the first floors, on the 5th floor, right, left, on the right, on the left, public transport, on the bus, on the train, on a plane, media, on the radio, on TV, on the internet, on a website.
Okay, so let's say in simple words, In is for more general, talking about prepositions of time or prepositions of place. In is gonna be used in a more general context. And on is gonna be in a smaller context. It's gonna be used in a smaller context than in. And at is for a very, very specific point. Because I can say in school and I can say at school. So what is it gonna be depending on if I use in or if I use at? So for example, if I tell you, where are you? Oh, I'm at school. It means that you are in that place, right? Very specific. Or you can say within. Let me think of a sentence. How can I give you an example within in university? Help me to think about a sentence using in school. Yeah, we can say we have some buildings in the school, could be. Yeah, referring in, since in, como in se refiere a algo, hablando también del lugar, ya. El in se refiere a algo que está dentro de, entonces podemos usar el in para referirnos a algo que está en la escuela. ¿Sí? For example, we have some buildings in the school, or we have some nice cafeterias in the school. And at is like for the location when you are at school, in that like when you are located at the school. Let's say that at is for the location and in is for what is in the school. Yes?
Sí.
Ok. Entonces, aquí en este tipo de context, different contexts that I've shown in here. For example, territory se refiere pues al territorio en general, right? In Mexico, in Hermosillo, in Villa Bonita, in whatever. I mean, you could be from general to specific. If we're talking about territory, it's gonna be with in. Car, van, in the car, in the bus, in the airplane, it means whatever that is in the car. O sea, todo lo que pueda caber dentro, vamos a usar in. Water, todo lo que tenga que ver con agua. In the sea, in the river, in the lake, in the swimming pool, in the ocean, etc. Printed material, so something physical, right? In a book, in a picture, in the newspaper, etc., etc. Now on, tal cual como lo podemos ver en el ejemplo, on pues algo que se puede colocar sobre, right? Entonces on the table, on the carpet, as it says in there, on a surface, on the floor, on the right, on the left, in public transport, on the bus, on the train. But this is, for example, in se refiere a lo que va dentro de tal cosa, right? Si tú estás en el carro, pues estás in the car. Media, on the radio, on TV, on the internet, on a website, etc. Let's see more examples with the same prepositions of place. Now, this is showing you like how to identify, because here we have more prepositions of place. For example, these objects. Across, estaba acá y luego está acá. Entonces es across. The action of moving from one side to the other side, we can say across. For example, let's say my sister's house is across the street. ¿Qué significa eso? Pues que está cruzando la calle. Across es cruzando algo. Against, pues es lo contrario. O sea, está del lado contrario. Along es que va conjunto, o sea, este es el camino, y si yo digo, oh, she's going along, es que va conjunto. No sé si les han tocado ver in movies or musicals or songs or whatever, que dice sing along. ¿Qué significa sing along? Pues que cantemos juntos. Sing along es como hacer juntos la acción de la que estén hablando. Around, pues es que lo rodea, right? Away from es pues lejos, la acción de irte lejos de cualquier cosa, por ejemplo, in this case, the box, away from the box. Down, la acción de abajo. From, if you see, se puede ver igual, que viene siendo way and from is the same. In, To. The ball is in the box. Of, pues es fuera, lo contrario. On es sobre la superficie de la caja. Under, debajo. Out es lo mismo que off. Si se fijan, va a haber imágenes que tengan como que el mismo significado porque se pueden usar como sinónimos. Over, como la tengo aquí. La diferencia entre across y over, por ejemplo, que las imágenes se pueden parecer, es que across es que cruzas algo y over es sobre la superficie or something like that. Through es a través. O sea, for example, through a bridge or through the ocean or through the cloud. I don't know. For example, if you're on a plane, and then you say, oh, we're passing through the clouds. Estás pasando entre, atravesando, pues. To and towards. This is just in the same way, which is like aquí, for example, away. It's like going away from it. Es como alejarte. Y el toward, towards, pues es que ya estás acercándote, the opposite. Here we have up, que sería lo contrario a down. Up and down. Prepositions of place. Let's go and read and hear about these prepositions. Okay, we have 1 minute and 40 seconds. We're gonna make a pause to enter again, okay?
Okay.